I'm going to go ahead and call this meeting of the Dunn County Executive Committee to order. All members are here. So that's order and roll, approval of the minutes. We have September 11th written down for the minutes. Should that be the October minutes?
Mine says October.
I don't know. Okay, great. Perfect. Let me,
I so move.
thank you.
Your Honor.
Second? Great. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. Oh, that explains it. I'm on the wrong month. So 4 would be public comments under any circumstances. Nobody here. Do we have anyone send any in? There we go. Now I'm on the right set of minutes. Yeah, I will. Just finishing crumpling it when I realized that. All right.
You have a public comment from Terry Nichols, Town of Colfax, that was sent in via email. Executive, so public. Not long ago, I heard a discussion relating to public comments at one of the standing committee meetings. I don't know why this came up for Dunn County, as all I need to do is go back to the document called Directional Planning Process adopted by the county in March 2016. I remember when this document was approved and used this document as a guide for Dunn County. In other words, I internalized. I'm losing my lines here. In other words, I internalized this document as a Dunn County resident. I haven't heard this document come up for some time as I try to follow the standing committees of Dunn County best I can. I see on this agenda that the resolution adopting organizational core values under the Committee on Administration is listed. The use of the word public in this new document, that would be me as a county resident. I strongly recommend that all county board supervisors revisit this document. The document, it lists what the county board supervisors do as it relates to leadership in the county. This document also lists mission, vision statements, and a graphic that lists values and goals. My question to the executive committee, is the county adopting the directional planning process and going with a new resolution on the agenda? The value of public comment, according to the DPP, March 2016, is already addressed. I know the directional planning process took many hours and many meetings across the county, and outside subject experts were brought in as well. If you read the document, you'll see that broadband in Dunn County has made huge strides, and the legislative committee has progressed with Chair Steen, another goal. Respectfully, Terry Nichols, Town of Colfax, Dunn County.
All righty. Any more hiding in there? All right, well, I will close public comments. County managers report.
All right, you have in your packets the board agenda. It essentially mirrors what you have on this agenda, except that there will be department reports from annual reports from the neighbors of Dunn County and the Highway Department. Any questions about that?
And
I was wondering if 6E on our agenda for the bonds should flow down to the whole board agenda
So
for the solar. I don't see that on the,
Oh, yes, it should. Good catch. Yes,
okay, thanks.
yes. I think it actually is on the up. I have another version of it going forward, but yes, I will double check to make sure it is. Okay. All right, let me give you a 30-second update on our ERP process. As you may recall from last month, we had 9 submittals of our request for plan proposal process. They selected 5 for demos. We did 1 last week for 2 days. We're doing 2 this week for 2 days each, so 4 days this week are demos, 1 next week and 1 the following week, I believe. After which the leader, what we call the pit leads, essentially the leads of the subgroups, will meet together and take a look at those. In the meantime, and kind of make a final decision. In the meantime, we also have left an opportunity in the proposal process to do what's called best and final bid, meaning, okay, now we've seen your presentation and we've gotten your proposal and whatever, and sort of what's your best deal. And so all of that will play itself out here over the next month-ish, and we should be on our way to making a final selection. Any questions about that? All right, that is all that I have.
All right. Reports, resolutions, and ordinance to the county board from the executive committee. Item A, resolution approving 2024 budget adjustments, DHS, CJCC, and Sheriff's Department. We'd need a motion in a second. Supervisor Headland, Supervisor Steen. You've all seen these. Anyone have any questions they need answered? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. B, resolution authorizing 2025 general obligation notes. Motion in a second. Supervisor Kinnear. Supervisor Prochnow. Anyone have any questions? All right, seeing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? I'm going to take that as an aye. C, resolution adopting FY 2025 budget. No, it's all good. Motion in a second. Supervisor Headland, Supervisor Steen. You've seen it all. It's all pretty much where we were. Any questions? All right, all in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion passes. Resolution adopting the tax levy. Once again, motion in a second. Oh, Supervisor Morehouse, Supervisor Quinn. Anyone have questions? Seeing none, all in favor? Any opposed? That was a great double take from whoever just tried to come through the door. Item E, resolution authorizing geo bonds for solar geothermal. Motion in a second. Supervisor Vogel, Supervisor Prochnow. Again, you've seen all of this. Question?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, microphone.
I'm sorry.
It's all good. I think I'm too far away from mine
We,
anyway.
we were having too much fun before without it. And this was something I guess, I don't know if I deleted my emails or what happened to them, but anyway, I got a question. What would be the replacement cost of the current system that we have?
It's an imprecise number, and Dan can correct me if I get this wrong, but or Randy or Ann, it was replacing the judicial center HVAC was gonna be something between 3.5 and 5 million.
Okay.
So a very substantial portion of this.
Okay.
And it just, the exact details are fuzzy. Okay. Anyone else? All right, seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Review of reports, resolutions, and ordinances coming to the county board from the standing committees. Committee on Administration. I, resolution adopting organizational core values.
Any questions? If not, thank you to the staff and led by our county manager and putting this together. I certainly appreciate it. I know the admin committee did. Always, Chris or I, if you have any questions.
Supervisor Kinnear.
I'm just wondering what led to this. What was the impetus for this now?
Defer to Chris.
So there was a little bit in the background information. So we've had this employee relations work group that has been meeting pretty religiously for the last couple of years. They actually met previous to that. They were a outcropping of the end of collective bargaining back with Act 10. And there was an employee relations work group that was formed with management and employee, direct service employees to kind of talk about all the things that would have typically maybe been covered in a collective bargaining agreement. That group had kind of had ebbs and flows and foundered, but we recalibrated them a couple of years ago, and we worked our way through a number of different like processes and understanding. We did a deep dive into compensation. We have done just a lot of different things under the group. They're a very engaged group. It's about 25-ish people. And there's always really good attendance at the monthly meetings, composition of kind of across the organization, different staff. And one of the things that we've talked a lot about is culture within the organization, and a lot of conversation in the compensation piece about just sort of what it is that allows someone to have additional compensation. A lot of conversation about the fact that in a public system like ours, if you do a 2% increase, everybody gets 2%, whether or not they're performing at their best or they're not their best. So anyway, all of those conversations really led to looking at some of the things that other organizations do to solidify sort of what are some of the core expectations as it relates to culture within an organization. And so over a period of months, we worked our way through a whole prioritization process to identify. We had 8 that we ended up with. And then the group selected 4 of those. Then we put them on our job satisfaction survey. All of the staff that completed the survey, which was about 80% of our staff, also ranked those, and we ended up with 5 of them that were those that rated the highest. And a lot of buy-in from staff that these are the things that we really want to be reflected in the work that we do, as well as the way that we interact with the public, and hoping that each of the committees, community administration, executive committee, and ultimately the board would also adopt them as a framework for how we do business in Dunn County. So I think the short answer to your question, because that was a very long answer, is really they are a core piece of really solidifying culture within an organization.
Yeah, this was something that was similar to what I experienced the last few years. I worked at Walmart Corporation, is that we would do a review and then company-wide suggestions and changes and things came up. And then there would be a new ethics and they called it ethics training, but basically it was these kinds of values. And then became mandatory training that you had to, so just sit down and go through the, you know, the information that was provided in the updates. And, I think that that was, you know, there, and of course, being in a bigger corporation, they even had, you know, ethics reporting hotlines and things like that, but it became kind of answered the questions, I guess I'm gonna say, for especially new employees.
Yeah, thank you for a little deeper and explanation. Appreciate it.
I mean, truly, our hope would be that they become kind of that measuring stick to the things that we do, both in terms of partially building them into our performance evaluations, using them in our onboarding of new staff, and you know, really just trying to make them woven into the fabric of our work.
Anyone else? Okay. AII, I guess is how that would be. Resolution approving one-time floating holiday payout, emergency 911. I presume this is another one of the, does anyone have any questions? We've done several of these now.
And again, as Nick reminded us, this is just a, you know, it's a one-time thing. We're not
Yep.
passing it as a new form of operating. It's to take care of the situation we're in right now.
Alrighty. AII, resolution approving a cancellation of uncashed checks over 2 years old. I think you've all seen these go through before. Anyone have any questions? All right. Resolution adopting vision benefits. Again, pretty straightforward. Okay. That would conclude the item A. B, highway resolution approving jurisdictional transfer of old E. Anyone have questions? Randy, you have anything you want to say to it? You don't have to.
Well, just old E was when they moved E in the early 2000s, they had this little fragment of E. It's a dead end road. So basically what we did is had to re-blacktop it, get it ready to be transferred over to town of Springbrook. It's a dead end road. We had to do maintenance on it, and it's hard to turn around because it's just a dead end road that goes nowhere to that dam down in Elk Lake over there.
Okay. All right. That concludes the review of reports, resolutions, and ordinances coming to the county board from the standing committees. Item 8, reports from standing committees. Let's start, Randy. You gave us such an eloquent
Yeah.
description. So Supervisor Prochnow.
I just talked about E. So let me see. County Road B project is basically done. Did a walkthrough last week. There's a couple little minor things there. Obviously in the spring, we got to make sure the vegetation grows up because that got seeded down a little late, but otherwise everything's pretty much done. They had to fix a couple little things, but we're wrap that project up. County Road Double V project. We got that all done. The old E project we just got done. Otherwise, we're basically just working. They just did a bunch of blasting and pulverizing gravel. We're hauling that to the shops right now. Once that's done, we'll be getting the rest of the trucks ready for snow plowing and winter maintenance. So that's where we're at. The next meeting will be December 11th.
Thank you, Supervisor Prochnow. Supervisor Vogel.
So the facilities committee met on October 23rd at 5 p.m. and the fair board, Deb was not there, but the rec park is ready for winter. The water has been turned off. They also washed and painted the two buildings, the like shop buildings. Caddy Woodlawn has steel on most of the buildings, and then they were pressure washing the government building. And we should have 6 2025 Malibus in the fleet soon. And then the rezone of the transfer station, it sounds like it's going to the town board maybe in November sometime. And then since our next meeting was going to be the day before Thanksgiving and December meeting was going to be Christmas, we put them together on December 4th at 5 PM.
Thank you, Supervisor Vogel. Supervisor Headland.
Met in this building last meeting, October 24th. We had a busy agenda. We had a couple requests for contingency funds. One went to the clerk treasurer's office. That was to put up some sound barriers. If you remember that, that's just a big wide open space between the two. Nice for working and helping back and forth, but also troublesome if somebody is trying to do maybe a phone conversation and, you know, somebody else is at the window or whatever. So anyway, that was looked like to be a simple and well thought out fix. Along with that, a broadband grant, 24/7, looking for a little help, just, you know, kind of a supplementary grant that we've done in the past for doing some broadband north on Highway 79 up towards Boyceville. They've been busy up and down there with lots of trucks this last couple of weeks, and I understand hoping to get it done before the end of the season here, so. They certainly working at it. Along with that, all of the previous mentioned information in terms of adopting the payout for 9/11 and so forth. Were there any questions on the benefit in terms of the eyewear thing? I didn't see anybody. I thought it was something else when I saw that was managing it, but anyway, it's very simple and very good idea. The uncashed checks, I hope you look through that register. There's some pretty large ones on there, but we had a good discussion on that, and what, you know, it's 2 years, and so we move forward. Our next meeting, because of Thanksgiving, will be on the 21st here at 3 o'clock. So different day of the week. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Headland. Supervisor Bauer.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Community Resources and Tourism met October 15th. Chris, we met here in this room. Chris Bruder gave her good report as she always does. Melissa Burke, as you know, had resigned her position. Interviews will be coming on Friday, the 22nd of this month. I might set in those just to see who they got. Ryan Sterry is our new Area 5 Dairy Coordinator. He started November 5th, so he's already on board. He will have a position or an office here in this office or this building. Zachary gave a report on the 4-H overview. Very good report. I mean, there are a lot of things going on there in the 4-H. Really good overview on that. On the broadband committee, had a request for, as Vaughn just went through, they had a request that they were going to take a $400,000 putting in more communications up in the town of Sheraton along Highway 79. They were asking if the county would help out a little bit, which we decided to do. We talked about it on different prices. We come up with a $25,000 for the county to throw in to help them out a little bit. And we sent that down to the administration, the Vaughn's Communications there. And we canceled our November meeting since UW Extension is all going to be gone. So we just decided not to have the meeting at all. So, but all we have. Thanks.
Thank you, Supervisor Bauer. Supervisor Kinnear.
Thank you. The Neighbors of Dunn County Committee met a couple of times since our last executive committee meeting. We're working on the land lease. So we have more than 30 acres of land that we lease out to CVTC, and they work with the DNR, NRCS, UW Extension, all, and use it as a demonstration plot. And so that's working on that for a 10-year plan. 10 years similar, so they have a little better way of planning. And one of the buildings had a survey, which I call an inspection, but it's called a survey from the state. And they did really well as always. It's just amazing. You know, when a survey comes in, they're going to find something. So the medical part was great, and Scott Nebefeld's part, the facility part was also really good. And they can get you just for a crack in a door being too wide when two doors come together. So it is really good. And we're still projected to make a profit of over $500,000 in even including the depreciation. So it's take depreciation out, it's 1.5 million. So looking good. Next meeting is 12/12/24. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Kinnear. Before I forget, I have one small executive item. You will be getting a link sometime in the next couple of days for our evaluation of our county manager, which we will do at the December meeting because statutorily it has to happen this year, and it perhaps ought to have happened in July.
And if you need some extra Christmas shopping money, I could like help you out with some bribes.
Okay, Supervisor Quinn.
Yes, the PR&D committee met this morning, actually. We canceled our 2nd October meeting and met in this building this morning. Very short meeting. We approved the foreclosed property bid that someone had submitted, so that property will be disposed of. We had a short review and discussion of how to manage the question of spot zoning when we think about rezoning properties, and that was a kind of an opportunity to kind of get each supervisor to share their thoughts on it and make sure we're on the right page. Staff provided us with a report and some background materials. And then we reviewed nominations for the position on the statewide Land and Water Conservation Association Board. It's an association that every Land and Water Committee around the state belongs to. It includes some staff from the counties and some statewide staff from agencies, and then representatives from elected by the various county committees. We voted on 5 nominations that were presented to us and selected 3 candidates that we will submit as part of our vote in the statewide process. And that's it.
Thank you, Supervisor Quinn. Supervisor Morehouse.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If I can get through this without coughing. The Health and Human Services Board last met on October 24th. We had our usual, always really good reports from our 3 departments. And I don't know if I've reported on this, but Greg Quinn reminded us of the September 21st work of the U8 434 plumbers, steam fitters, and HVAC service technicians who come together every fall in a national program to do furnace inspection and repairs for veterans. We have officially thanked them for the work in Dunn County, which included a free furnace for a veteran's family that the furnace was a mess. So we've officially thanked them for that. The public health staff are busy with vaccinations and continuing water testing. The human services staff is always busy doing lots of stuff, but we did have a chance to watch a cute video of their fall team building exercise. They had food trucks and games and all kinds of fun stuff out on the lawn. They get to have fun. They don't have that very often. We reviewed and approved the ADRC 2-year plan, 2025 to 2027 aging plan. Interesting having the community input on that process, that the issues identified by seniors were affordable housing, transportation options, home health options, and home maintenance options. Biggest issues. We also had we reviewed some data and had a really interesting discussion on sort of the changing demographics, our aging population, and issues around workforce shrinkage and workforce availability. It was pretty interesting. We looked at the September vouchers and approved a budget adjustment, which you just have seen. And our next scheduled meeting too was on Thanksgiving, so we've moved it up to the 21st. That's my report.
Thank you, Supervisor Moorhouse. Supervisor Calabrese.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Judiciary and Law met here. When was it? It was at the end of the month, the fourth Monday. And to give you an idea of the length of that meeting, this meeting is now officially twice as long as that meeting. So it was about 15 minutes. Well, there were no action items. There were great reports. Katie from the Clerk of Courts talked about a trial that they expected to be much longer than it was, that has wrapped up. And Marcy Rose, or not Marcy, but Josie from the Child Support shared a really quick video with us about unconscious biases that she was presented at an event that she went to. And we heard from Marshall Moltoff that Sheriff Bigg is recovering from hip replacement surgery well. And so that was good news. And that really was about it. And next meeting is here on November 25th.
Thank you, Supervisor Calabrese. Our next meeting will be December 11th. Our county board meeting, as a reminder, Tuesday next week, not Wednesday. And with that, if nobody else has anything urgent, we are adjourned.